Hello, I'm Kat, and this is today's tarot. So for our opening card, we have the card of transformation, a major arcana card. For our challenge card, we have the Six of Wands. The way we're going to get through that challenge is the Eight of Swords, and the overall energy for the day is the Seven of Swords. So let's start with the first card for today's tarot. The transformation card, also known as the death card, is a energetic of ending things so that we can have space to begin new things. This card is an energy all about transformation and regeneration. So when we look to nature to see what that looks like, oftentimes we can look to the butterfly or the seed, right? Like this initial form that only lasts really and serves us for so long until we outgrow it. And there's a process to that, and in that process it typically is in a water-like state, which is why this energy is associated with Scorpio, which is ruled by water, which is the source of life, transformation, regeneration, and reproductivity. It's interesting because a lot of people assume Scorpio is associated with fire because it's ruled by Mars and Pluto, but it's actually, that energetic of like what is going on in the underworld, what's going on within so deeply that it actually transforms us. And we're in that energy today. And what's key to remember about that, because people kind of get a little freaked out by the energy of, this card which says death or transformation, because it does mean endings, but it's as if, if you look at the seed only serves us for so long. We have to break away from that in order to actually grow and create the sprout and create the sapling and create the tree and then to flower and then to create the fruit, right? There's a cycle to things. And so there is rebirth from the death. And so part of this is also associated with eliminating that which is not serving us anymore and is no longer useful. If you see the figure in this card, we have the reaper who's walking through a garden with their scythe, and they're basically like harvesting the wheat for either sowing into the ground as fertilizer or as shaft to actually like burn in a fire. So it's how do we harvest these things that are useful from our experiences and then drop away what is no longer useful for us so that we can actually go into that new beginning and be reborn. And once we go through that change, you can't go back, right? The butterfly cannot go back to being a caterpillar. The sapling cannot go back to being a seed. It can create seeds later in life, but it can't actually go back once it's gone through this process. And so we're going through a process that's similar to that. We're going through a transformation. We're going through a doorway, and when we pass through that doorway, it will be a huge shift and transformation in our lives and with our own sense of self. Now, our challenge for the day is the Six of Wands, which is actually, typically associated with moving forward based on past successes. But there may be some part of this transformation that's hard for us to let go of, which is why this is our challenge. Moving forward could be our challenge because there can be some difficulties in possibly letting go or just moving forward or wanting to go through that doorway, But the way that we're going to get through that challenge is the Eight of Swords. And so this is a card that's reminding us that every limitation is temporary, right? Like we can work through a situation just by allowing time to go through its process. It can be hard when we feel kind of trapped and imprisoned by our situation, or even by the way that we think about things, or the way that we see things, or the way that we see our situation. But as you can see in the background of the card, there is a new light coming in. There is a dawn coming in. There is a shift coming in, and it's just a matter of time. So be patient. That's the way that we have to actually get through the challenge today of being reluctant to move forward, is we have to realize that things are going to shift with time and have a little bit of patience with that. You know, it's also an energetic of telling us that, you know, within that space, like, there will be, you know, an extrication from our situation over time. And like, just as the coast comes in and like the tide comes in and it, you know, washes away some of the sands and gives us perspective on a situation, it will also loosen some of these swords. The overall energy that we have for today, the overall outcome, is actually the Seven of Swords. So it's interesting that we lose one of these swords to go into the overall outcome for the day, which is the Seven of Swords. And this is learning through experiences. And you can see that the figure in this card is holding 5 swords in their grasp and leaving 2 swords behind. So it's like we are accepting some ways that we've thought about things aren't useful and we're leaving those behind, while we're also gathering what is useful and taking it with us. This is also an energetic of kind of like going out on one's own and like going into a new experience, because you can see that there is this grouping behind the person that is, you know, meeting and gathering with this smoke going up into the sky, and they're solo, right? They're in the front, in the forefront by themselves, just with these 5 swords, with, you know, to basically be on their own path. And so there's something that we've learned through this, and there's something that has kind of stripped away possibly and given us perspective. I am going to draw another card right now just to give us another influence of this. Now we have the Ace of Wands, and this is about new beginnings, new enterprise, starting new ventures. So there is, you know, definitely, it's almost like we've been carrying a weight that's been holding us down and keeping us from moving forward into something that actually brings a lot of heart, a lot of energy to our heart, a lot of fire to our heart, and a lot of inspiration to our heart. And so it's time to let that drop away. It's time to let the you know, shell of the seed drop away. Let that which has been confining you and restricting you from growth drop away, so that we can sprout into this new beginning. We are at a new crescent right now as far as the moon phases go, so it's a good time to meditate and put your energy into what you want to create and what you are bringing forth out of that seed that you've been sitting in all winter. So I send you a good wish today, so much love and many blessings as we all get through this ooey gooey stage of transformation. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.